Hello. In 2008, we had a company in St. Louis install our Tru-Tile pool. In 2018, they replaced the liner. While opening the pool in 2019, we discovered the liner had pulled away from the track. We also discovered that company had filed bankruptcy. With help and effort, we were able to get the liner back in the track, but I thought the locking strip never seated correctly. When opening the pool this year, we discovered the same problem. I'm reaching out to you to see, one, if you have a locking strip I can purchase, and two, any suggestions you may have to keep this from happening again.
Okay, so I have a couple thoughts going through my mind here. It looks like this is a Roman rectangle, so it's a 2-foot radius corner, and it's right at that corner that the liner is popping out. There's a couple things that you could do that might help. When you lock that liner bead back in, when you put the liner back in and you put that snap lock in there, what people don't realize is if you can see the top edge of that liner lock, it's a flat piece about this big, and it has those two little, there's a bump out and then there's a hook kind of. But as you put that in, if you look down from the top of the pool and you can still see the top edge of that, then it's not locked in. A lot of people kind of push it in and think, oh, that's it. But technically, because we use dark gray on everything we do, the white molded plastic has a dark film over it. So it's really easy for us to know if one's in or not because you can see that little white strip. What I'm going to recommend you do, if you could get it back up in there, which might take some hot water, it might take a blow dryer or a heat gun to try to create some heat there. Nothing with the flame, but if you can get it back in and get the liner locked back in there, what I would do is I would take a hammer and lightly tap it and work from one end to the other until that tile, that clip is completely flush with the true track where it's going in itself. I've seen that mistake a few times, that people will push it in there and it stays so they think it's good enough, but technically you need to get that strip, that liner lock needs to push into that cavity enough that you don't see the top of it all, that it's flush. If you do that, it seems to work. We haven't had no issues with any major issues, not like what I'm seeing with the whole corner coming out. We've certainly over the years had pieces of that track pop out, or the lock pop out, and it's a matter of cutting it and replacing it, because once it pops out, oftentimes that little bead in the back breaks. But what I would do is make sure you have a nice fresh piece of that material. We certainly have some of it in stock. Ours is dark gray. I don't know what the easiest course to purchase another piece would be. Maybe we could guide you in the right direction and see if we could get something shipped to you, I suppose. And I don't never dealt with that, how to ship that type of a product to someone else, but I'm sure it's possible. But the key is to make sure that it goes in. Oh, the other thing that you could do to help ensure that it stays is we use Boss is a company. They make an 801. It's a caulk that we use on all the seams. That I think the Tru-Tile system itself recommends. Bosch. Do you remember what the? Okay, so there's the Tru-Tile system has NovaGuard, is Tru-Tile's NovaGuard caulk. We just happen to use the Bosch 801. You could, as you get it back in the track, you could put a bead of caulk in behind the liner so that the caulk would grab the liner as well, and it'd be less likely to pull out. The challenge with that, if you're not experienced with it, is as you're struggling to put the liner back into place, you're also dealing with caulk and stuff on your hands and everything else. So while that would be a really good extra precautionary thing, probably not the easiest thing to do as a novice. If they had someone in the area that could service it and take care of it for you, they might be able to do it if they've done that often enough. But if nothing else, get that liner lock and tap it in. Use a hammer. Of course, you don't want to start swinging the hammer and chip your ceramic tile, but use a hammer on it and make sure the key is to get that piece to go flush with the tile line. You'll be able to see it if it goes flush, and if it's in like that, it's pretty hard for it to come out. So hopefully that helps.